Hey everybody, this is Randy Brown for Cameo Man 2021 and the Mayor of Magic. Today we've got a very special vlog for you today. I've got the 10 books you should read, and I've got 5 key takeaways from every book. We're gonna start. I'm gonna tell you the 10 books you should read, and we'll go down the list with all the key takeaways. Number 1, the Bible. Number 2, the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. Number 3, Failing Forward. Number 4, the Now Habit. Number 5, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Number 6, Choices by Shad Helmstetter. Number 7, The Idiot's Guide to Achieving Your Goals. Number 8, Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins. Number 9, Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins. And number 10, Unleash the Warrior Within. All right. So the first book that you should read is called the Bible, and it's full of tons of wisdom and knowledge. And, the first key takeaway that I take away from the Bible is, not to trust in your own heart, because in Proverbs 28:26, it says that only a fool trusts in his own heart, so if you want real wisdom, you go by God's word. You don't go by what your heart says. A lot of people are like, do whatever is in your heart. Nope. Proverbs 28:26 says, don't do that. Okay. Number 2 key takeaway is what you reap, you sow, or what you sow, you reap. So, 2 Corinthians 9:6 says, he who sows generously will reap generously, and he who sows sparingly will reap sparingly. And then number 3 is what you ask for, you shall receive. That's in John 16:24. But in the 4th key takeaway is in Luke 11:9, you need to keep asking, like God knows what you want before you even ask him. But you got to keep asking over and over and over again, many times. And sometimes, you're not going to get what you want in this system of things, which means sometimes you're going to have to wait till heaven to get what you want, and you've got to keep asking. Like I've had prayers that I prayed tons of times, and then eventually I gave up. And, if you waver, you're not going to get what you want. All right. And then number 5, the wicked are the ones who are going to disappear, not the righteous people. Like you got this movie like Left Behind says, all the good people are just going to suddenly disappear. That's not what the Bible teaches. In Psalm 37:10, it says, the wicked will not be with you forever. You will look where they are and you will not find them. So it's not the righteous who are going to disappear. It's going to be the wicked that disappear. All right. So now we're going on to the 7 habits of highly successful people. All right. Now, this is a really good book. If you're interested in self-development and success, this is definitely one of the books you need to read. And the first key takeaway from the 7 habits of highly successful people is, number 1, put first things first. And, one of my friends, his name is John. John constantly thinks like 15 projects in advance. He's like, oh, Randy, we need to get Fierce Man 5 done. Then I've got ideas for Fierce Man 6 and 7. And, oh, we need to do Blinding Lights. And, no, we got to do this RoboCop parody. And, oh, we got to do this. And I'm like, Fierce, focus. We can only do one thing in the next month. Just focus. I know you really want to do these 15 other projects, but let's just focus on the task at hand. Let's not worry about these 14 other things that we have to do. Focus. Let's get this first thing done. Then we'll worry about that second thing and then the third thing. So that's basically key takeaway 1. Put first things first. Number 2 is focus on what you can control, because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people focus on things they can't control, like politics or the weather or, other people's actions or their neighbors, or what their neighbor's yard looks like, and what their neighbors are talking about. You can't control any of that. If you focus on what you can control, you'll live a happier life because you'll be able to progress. And progress equals happiness. All right. So, there are a few things you can focus on, and I'm going to get into those later on in the day. So here we go. Number 3, sharpen the axe. And basically what sharpen the axe means is practice. Whatever you're doing, whatever your focus is, practice, practice, practice. I mean, I know a lot of people who think, oh, I went to college, I know it all, I don't need to learn anything more. No, that's not true. You are going to learn forever until the end of time. So if you want to get better at something, you need to practice. Don't think, I know it all. I know all the filmmaking techniques. I know all the editing techniques. I know all the writing techniques. I don't need to learn anymore. No, that is incorrect. That's wrong. You need to sharpen the axe. And with that chapter, Sharpen the Axe, Stephen Covey gives an example. He says, there were 2 people who were in a contest to cut down tons of trees. And, one guy just sat there and sharpened his axe for like 4 hours. Meanwhile, in 2 hours, this other person had cut down a ton of trees. But after the 6th hour, he looked back and he saw that the opponent's entire forest was decimated. And he goes, how did you cut down all these trees? I've been cutting them down this entire 6 hours, and you spent 4 hours sharpening the axe. I was like, yeah, that's how I won. I sharpened the axe for 4 hours. Then a little bit of effort went a long way. So I cut down the entire forest in 2 hours when you were spending all this time chopping down trees with a dull axe. You could have cut down the entire forest in 2 hours. So, that exemplifies of like practice makes perfect. The more you practice, the better you'll be at your job. And the better you are at your job, the more opportunities you're going to get on the job. So number 4, be proactive. Like, now this is a major thing. And if you have any questions in the chat, let me know. If you got any questions or if you got any comments, post them on there. So yeah, be proactive. And what proactive means is taking action before you're asked or told. I mean, if you want a job, don't just like sit there passively and hope that, some job's going to come. You can make your own job. That's what I did. I could have gone out and looked for script writing jobs, but you know what I did? I went on Fiverr and said, hey, you guys want to pay me for a script? Here I am. Hit me up. Tons of people did hit me up. I've made quite a bit off of scripts and stuff like that. So be proactive. Take action before you're asked or before you're told. And the number 5 key takeaway from the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People is don't murder the golden goose, And basically this comes from the fairy tale of the golden goose. This farmer, he found a golden goose, and the first day there was an egg. The second day there was an egg. Third day there was an egg. But then the farmer got greedy, and he said, oh, if I tear the goose open, and I can get all the golden eggs it'll ever lay. So he tears the goose open, finds there's no eggs in there. And if he would have just been patient and waited for the golden goose to lay those eggs, he probably would have had golden eggs to infinity. But because he got greedy, because he tried to overwork the goose and get, things really super quickly, he ended up killing the goose. And now nobody's getting any eggs at all, So there you go. Don't kill your golden goose. All right. Be patient and wait for your golden goose to produce, and don't overwork it, and don't try to, get 10,000 eggs in 1 second, because it's not going to work. The next book up is called Failing Forward by, let's see, John C. Maxwell. John C. Maxwell is a very cool guy. He's written tons of books, Winning with People, Talent Isn't Enough, and Failing Forward. And his book, Failing Forward, is personally one of my favorite books that he's ever done. Number one key takeaway is failure is good. And you might be saying, well, Randy, why is failure good? Failure is not a good thing. Failure is a bad thing. No, failure is good. And the principle is that if you're trying new things, if you're failing, that means you're trying new things. If you're not failing, that means that you're not trying anything, because nobody is perfect at anything the first time out. Everybody had a learning curve. Everybody had to prove themselves. Everybody who's really good at something had to practice to get there. All right. Number two, a lot of famous people failed many times for a long time before they became a success. For example, Thomas Edison went through about 999 Thomas Edison went through about 999 failed attempts at a light bulb, So he didn't just strike gold the first or second or third time. He had a lot of times before he came across a viable light bulb. He didn't just do it like that. And Abraham Lincoln himself didn't reach success until like 40 or 50. He had many, many defeats. He had many, many failures. He tried to become a senator at one time. He lost a few of his wives to death. Abraham Lincoln failed many, many times, and he didn't really even make it until his 40s or 50s. So number three, many inventions were failure at trying to make something else. There are tons of examples of this. Like, for example, silly putty was an example of someone trying to make something else. Like, the guy who created the Post-it was trying to make a sticky glue that could not be unstuck. And he failed. And he noticed that this failure that wouldn't quite stick a lot was the perfect thing to put on the back of a Post-it. So there you go. Number four, the more you fail, the more you learn. All right. And the more you fail, the more you learn. And it gives the example of there was this teacher who asked 50 of his students to make a pot. All right. And they had the A group of 25 students and the B group of 25 students. And the A group was supposed to make the perfect pot. It didn't matter how they made the pot. They had to make the perfect pot. All right. And then the B group was supposed to make as many pots as humanly possible. So what the teacher found is the A group that only was supposed to make one did horribly compared to the group that were supposed to make 50. Because the people that made 50 pots, they kept learning through their failures. And eventually the people who made 50 pots, that 50th pot was better than all the other pots combined. So there you go. All right. And now number five is successful people sometimes aim to fail. And some successful people have a failure quota. And there's one successful person who would ask his kid every day, what did he fail at? And he always expected an answer. What did you fail at today, son? And again, some people had a failure quota. Like Thomas Edison had a failure quota that he would try to do to make the light bulb. All right. Now we're going on to the next book in the group is The Now Habit. And The Now Habit is a book about scheduling and organization and timekeeping. And it's The Now Habit by Neil Fiore. And he's got several good tidbits in here. Number one, the first principle is to ask, when can I start? You know, like if you've got a goal or if you've got a plan, you need to ask yourself, when can I start? When's the soonest possible I can start? And then number two is, what's one small step I can take? You know, what's one tiny small step I can take? Number three is that play is not only fun, but necessary. Because if you don't have fun, you will burn out. And burning out is not good. That's actually thing number four. If you don't play, you'll burn out. So, Neil Fury has this thing called guilt-free play, which means it's a necessary part. And you want to make your periods of work smaller and your periods of play shorter. I know it seems counterintuitive, but it really works. That's the way I write a 90-page screenplay in 4 days. The way I do it is on the first day I write 20 pages, the second day I write 25, the third day I write 25, and then the fourth day I write 20. And then for the 20-page days, I break it up like this. I go 7 pages, hour-long break, 8 pages, hour-long break, and then 7 pages, and then I'm done for the day. For 25 pages, I go, okay, 8 pages, hour-long break, 9 pages, hour-long break, 8 pages, and then I'm done. See, it's very simple. And if you keep up that pattern, you will start putting out stuff very, very, very quickly. All right. And again, 5 is take frequent breaks. Okay. If y'all have any questions in the chat, let your voice be heard. You got to speak up if you want to be heard. So yeah, if you got any questions about this or any comments, let me know in the chat. Now, this is from How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I thoroughly encourage you, if you want to be a people person, you need to read this book. If you consider yourself a people person or want to become a people person, this is the book you should read, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And this principle that I'm about to tell you is probably one of the most important principles of all time. Number one, never criticize, condemn, or complain. All right. That is a key takeaway. Like, that is probably the most important thing that you will learn in this entire video is never criticize, condemn, or complain. Because, when you complain, number one, it doesn't do anything. And number two, if you complain a lot, people just plain don't want to be around you. They don't want to be around you. Principle number two, before pointing out someone's mistakes, point out your own mistakes. Like if somebody's having trouble with basketball, you see like, oh yeah, I had this problem. And I learned to bounce the ball like this, and then you know, give your criticism, but before you point out somebody else's mistakes, point out your own. Number 3 principle, be interested in other people. And, if you're genuinely interested in other people, people are going to like you. Number 4, now this is a tip from the take notes and stuff, but it says coming in. Well, somebody let me know. It looks like my internet is very. If I've got a, let me know, because it looks, and I don't know how it's going later, because it looks like anybody's in the chat. And so yeah, if anybody's out there, let me know. Let me know. Had 0 viewers for quite a while. We got 1. Hopefully that person doesn't go away. So number 5, arouse in a person an eager want. Now this basically goes down to the principle of, make the people, that want to do something for you, make them want to do it. Like, for example, my, like he asked me to house. Oh, Pierce Vlogs is here. Yo, what's up, dude? So yeah, when you're trying to make somebody want to do something, I tried to call you. Sorry, I didn't know you were live. Yeah, I'm live. Pierce. So when you want to make somebody do something for you, try to provide an incentive. Like you want to give good incentives. Like my friend Greg is like, hey Randy, you want me to, you can raid the fridge. I just bought like a 12-pack of Coke. I'm giving you $40. So Craig, really sweetened the pot, and I'm going to be house sitting his cats for him, and said, oh, you only need to feed them and clean the litter box, and and then you can have run of the house and do whatever you want to do. So there you go. My bad, man. Yeah, don't worry about it. So number 4, the next book is Choices by Shad Helmstetter. And here are the 5 key takeaways from Choices by Shad Helmstetter. Larry Tate says, hello, my friend. What up, Larry? Good to see you. All right, the number 1 takeaway is we all have choices, even though we may not like the choices. Now, what a lot of people don't know is we have choices every day. We have choices about the food that we eat. We have choices of where to go and what to do. We have the choices of what to focus on. We have the choices of what books to watch, what movies we want to see, whether we want to pick up the phone and call a friend or not. There are millions of choices. And if you read this book, it'll give you a list of the top 100 choices that affect you most directly. So the second key takeaway are there are choices that build you up, choices that tear you down, and choices that help you break even. And whenever you make a choice, you want to ask yourself, okay, is this choice going to build me up? Is this choice going to tear me down, or is this choice going to make me break even? Because like so if I never eat house it travels, sweeten the pot by offering you food and money. Try to only offer money, so next time sweeten them more. Well, fears. Number 1, this guy is less than a 5-minute drive away from me. And he's buying me a 12-pack of Coke, and he's giving me $40 cash, and plus just to drive over to your house and drive back, that would be like $40 worth of gas. So you would have to sweeten it a lot more than $40. And plus your house is a 2-hour drive away. So that's like 2-hour drive there, 2-hour drive back. So yeah, you would have to sweeten it a little bit more for me to come over to your house. Just let you know, LOL. So yeah. And to get to his house, all I have to do is drive like 5 minutes down the street. I don't have to drive on the deadliest road in America, So yeah, you'd have to sweeten a little bit more. And so number 3 principle, you choose to choose, or you let other people choose for you. But would work if I offer you money to stay at my house and sit. But would work if I offer you money to stay at my house, sit, and food. You're gonna have to retype that message, Fears. I don't know what that sentence means. So number three principle is you choose to choose, or you choose the fact of you either act or you are acted upon. Like if you don't have a plan, other people are going to impose their plans on you. So best to choose for yourself, best to plan for yourself, and you know, um, and number four is how much you learn is a choice. Uh, you know, would it work if would it work if you stayed at my house and while I was on vacation and gave you money to stay there and food? I didn't know. Let's talk about this when I call you. Number five, how you treat people is a choice. Whether you treat people with dignity or respect or not is a choice. Setting your goals. Number one is SMART goals, and SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. Now, SMART goals are specific. Number one, if you want to set a goal, that's not a specific goal. No. So like I want to be happier. That's too vague. How do you want to be happier? Do you want to make more money? Do you want to lose some weight? Do you want to get a job? What do you want to do? Thanks, Fears. Number two thing is you can combine goals, but at the same time you wanted to draw a comic book. Well, guess what? You can combine goals, and you can make a comic book with your son or your daughter. Or let's say your goal is to lose weight, and you want to go sing more karaoke. Well, you know what? You can walk, the 2 miles to karaoke, and you can do that. Or like let's say you wanted to sing karaoke and make YouTube videos. Well, guess what? You can make karaoke YouTube videos. So, you can combine your goals. 3, don't shoot for the stars. It's okay if you fail because you'll land on the moon. And sometimes you do nothing at all. Big of goals, because those goals, it's going to demotivate you, and you're not going to want to try to set goals anymore. Number I had the combined goals twice. Goals that are combined are powerful. 5, write down your goals. Something powerful happens when you write them down. Now, me personally, I try to write my goals. Right before I go to bed, or right when I wake up in the morning. So I have a list. I know what I'm focused, and I know what I want to do. And now we're going on to Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins. Principle 1, never leave the site of a decision without doing something concrete towards its attainment. And then the number 2 key takeaway is the ultimate success formula. Decide on what you want. Number 1, take the sensory acuity to know if you're getting what you want or not. And then number 4, change your approach until you get what you want. Anthony Robbins asked this question, like, how many times should you change your approach? And everybody's like, forever. And he's like, no, you change your approach until you get what you want. Then you keep doing the thing that gets you what you want. Number 3 key takeaway is God's delays are not God's denials. And the thing about that is that God isn't going to give you what you want instantly. A lot of times you're going to have to wait for it. A lot of times you're going to have to work for it. And sometimes it might be 10 years down the line. It could be when you get into heaven, you know? So God's delays are not God's denials. Just because he's not giving you something you want right away, right now, doesn't mean that you're never going to get it. You know, the fact that you can't see what is happening does not mean that God isn't working. You know, like I can't see what News Channel 3 is doing right now. But, you know, when I wake up in the morning and I see the morning news, I'll be damn sure that, oh, yeah, they're working on something. All right. Number 4 is questions change whatever we're focusing on and therefore how we feel. Questions are very important in your life. They are integral, and questions determine what you focus on. You know, like if you focus on like what's crappy about my life, you know, that focus can put you in a bad mood. But if you focus on, hey, what's good about my life? What do I like about my life? Why am I lucky? Why am I a great person? You know, like if you focus on those questions are going to put you in a totally different state. Thank you, Larry Tate, but that was nothing of mine. That was Tony Robbins. But yeah, questions determine. Number 5, depression can be replaced by focusing on her. If you put your focus on help good about yourself, this is what key takeaway is. If you want a result, you got to take action. If you do nothing, you're not going to achieve that result. Number 2, create value for the person you're asking. You know, you need to create value. And, you know, I'm going to be doing a whole vlog on how to create value and how I do my own decisions and how I decide what to work on and what not to work on. Number 3, don't ask why, ask how questions. The problem with why questions is that when you ask why of your problems, you can be asking questions that have untrue promises. Like if you ask yourself, why am I such a pig? Well, then guess what? Your brain is an answer seeking machine just to have an answer. So if you ask yourself, why am I such a pig? Well, eat too much, you know, like, or if you ask it, why up with a reason? Well, because you're an idiot, or well, because God hates you, or well, because this, why, because that's. So instead of asking why questions, oh, Larry Tate says, you are my personal Tony Robbins. Thank you, Larry. I try. And that compliment means a lot to me because Tony Robbins is like, you know, very high in my eyes. So yeah, don't ask why questions, ask how questions. Instead of asking, why am I so fat? Ask yourself, how can I lose weight and have fun doing it? Or what's an easy way to lose weight? Or how can I have fun while exercising? Or what can I do to make exercising less painful? If you ask how questions, those are way, way, way much better than why questions. And then number 4 is the agreement frame. And the agreement frame basically goes like this. You know, like if somebody is arguing with you, number 1, listen to what they're saying. And then insert a quote like, I agree that maybe X, or I agree with X, or I I can see how you view this. I'm trying to think of a specific example because, like, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, and in the ministry, there's a lot of people who say, I don't believe in the Bible. The Bible's not science. The Bible's not fact. And then what we do is we say, well, there are many who feel the way you do. But could you read this verse right here? And then we have the read the words of, you know, like, how the God says the earth is a sphere in the Bible, and how that was, way, way, the Bible was way, way written before, most people found out the earth was a sphere. Or, the Bible's, and then we go, many do feel that way. And I do agree. These are trying times we live in. The many scientific facts that were proven in the Bible, like days. And that was a Bible commandment 2,000 years ago. So there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that's scientific, that was way, way, way ahead of its time, And then number 5 is the pattern interrupt. And the pattern interrupt basically goes like this, is where when somebody's angry or furious, one way to diffuse that anger is to just say something totally off topic, and that shuts them down for a second and makes them think, what is he talking about? I'll give you a perfect example of the pattern interrupt because I used it all through college. When I was in Collins College, there were 2 people in college. There was Benny Ross and Louis Ranieri. And those 2 would constantly go at it. And Benny's like a little schlubby nerd. And like Louis is like a big, strong army type. And Benny would just pick arguments with Louis. And after a while, their arguments got so just debased and dumb and stupid. So like out of every time they got into arguments, I would just say something random, be like, you know what, guys, I like brownies. And be like, what are you talking about? Lewis is like, what do you want about Randy? And that little comment, I like brownies, pulled them out of their argument, and then they were all focused on me. So get them out of that argument. And eventually, they called me Random Randy in high school. That's why I was doing it. The last 5 points by Richard Mochowitz is a self-defense strategy. So an ACTE is ACTE, simple plan, take action. Lagging quite a bit, Quattro. Oh, dang. So, yeah, maybe I should just go over the last 5 points. So the last one is ACTE. Assess the situation, create a simple plan, take action, and evaluate the results. And that's the way the Navy SEALs formulate their plans. They assess the situation. They're like, what do we want? What do we need? What do we have? How can we do it? And then number two section, or the number 2 takeaway, is the 3 stages of a plan. And the 3 stages of a plan I can teach in 30 seconds. Stage 1, how do I get there? Stage 2, what do I do when I get there? Stage 3, how do I get back? Those are the 3 stages of a plan in 30 seconds. And then the third point from Unleash the Warrior Within is hands. If you want to know if somebody's going to attack you, and you want to know if somebody's going to do something, don't look at their eyes. Like a person can be cold staring you dead in the face, but that doesn't mean anything. What you want to look for is their hands, because if they have a weapon, it's going to be in their hands. I remember I bought this self-defense tape by Bass-Rutten, and he's in like a bar set, like a set that looks like a bar. Hey, Yakvo, what's up? So he's in a bar set, and he comes towards the camera, goes, hey guys, my name is Bass-Rutten, welcome to my self-defense thing. But during the whole time, I noticed his hand was like this. And I was like, why is he keeping his hand like that? And then, like, immediately what he does is he goes like this at the camera, and it turns out he had a blade and didn't realize it was a weapon. But, you know, from now on, when I see somebody who's got their hand like this, that probably means that they have a weapon in their hands. So if you want it to hurt you or intends you harm, look at their hands. Eyes don't mean anything. You want to look for what's the defense thing is eyes, throat, and knees. And I guess you could insert groin in there too. Eyes, throat, and knees. And here's the reason you want to look at these three things is number one, if you're protecting your eyes, you're not protecting your knees. If you're protecting your knees, you're not protecting your eyes. If you're not protecting your throat, you're not protecting your eyes or your knees. So if you want to attack someone, if you want to do some damage, aim your kicks or strikes at one of those areas, because you cannot protect all three of those areas at the same time. And then the last point from Unleash the Warrior Within is always have a backup plan. The book Unleash the Warrior Within was written by a former Navy SEAL, Richard Mochwich. And he said, plans almost never go according to plan. And there's an old saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So the last point is always have a backup plan. Which number are we on currently? Sorry to tell you, Yakvo, we're done. You missed it. That was the last point of the last thing. But check it out and definitely comment on it. I've got to talk to Fears. But so those are the 5 key takeaways from the top 10 books. And then Yakvo, if you want to take a look in the description, I talk about Larry Tate. How old do you think the Earth is? 7,000 years. I have no idea, and I have no evidence to state what it is. I don't know. I don't know. I would have to research that. And that's a common JW response, because even the most studied Bible student, even the most learned professor, has some things that they will not be able to do. So Larry Tate, I will give you the common Jehovah's Witness answer to that. When we don't know things, I'll have the answer. I'm on my 3rd read through of the Bible. Hey, good job, Yakvo. Good job, man. So, Quattro, the Bible says that the earth, the answer to that one would be the earth is round, my friend. And a lot of people don't know that Christopher Columbus was actually a devout Christian, and he based his theory of the world is round off the Bible. A lot of people don't know that. But yeah, so there we go. So my name is Randy Brown. I'm going to hit the road. I got some phone calls to make, but I'll see you later. And remember, my name is Randy Brown. I do the card tricks, but you all bring the magic. Watch this stream again. Comment, like, and subscribe if you liked it. And I will talk to you later.